new me. Oh, I'm still in. Amazing. Okay. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and just one solitaire to that 6+++ show. I'm your host, Tom. I'm back once again. I've had lots of Christmas festivities and snoozing and one New Year's Eve to forget. And I am here to talk all things Warhammer with you. I have, of course, got my lovely 6++ Warhammer team. And today we're doing a Grotmas tier list. We'll talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions as well, because that's a sort of New Year's-y time sort of thing to do, and we're not averse to that. And in the middle, there'll be some self-promo, all the other wonderful things going on with the team and the channel as well. I'm going to introduce my cast of players. I'm going to start where I love to start with my dear leader, Chris El Capitan. How are you?
I'm nearly not ill anymore. So that's nice. We did the classic teacher thing of getting ill over the holidays. Chantel's brother came to visit and brought a lovely little cold down from Scotland. So spread that joy to everyone. It's beautiful. So Chantel's been struggling through worse than me, to be fair. I've just had man flu.
But it's much harder.
As you all know, man flu is the worst.
Yeah. It really is. It's debilitating. It's the only kind of flu I ever get.
Absolutely. So, I'm just about coming out the other side of that. But other than that, I'm all right.
And have you perchance played some Warhammer at a venue we know well?
I did, because I couldn't go to Saffron Slam. I couldn't go to Nottingham because I couldn't get a ticket. So I've gone to Saffron Slam at the weekend, which was good fun. Lewis always puts on a good event. So thank you very much, Lewis.
Shout out to Lewis.
We had Harley there, Sam, the new captain there.
Oh, no.
We had me there. We had Patrick there with his Phantom Titan.
Yeah, how did the Phantom get on in the end?
Well, round one, he played into Squig Hog Boys.
Yeah.
That tabled it in one turn. I think he had one okay-ish game into Harry's Orcs.
Okay.
But other than that, it was kind of... He came to roll some dice, and I think his general assessment was he was surprised how quickly it died.
that makes sense.
It's 55 wounds, but... Yeah.
55's a lot.
Most armies can do that. So.
I would love to have seen the Squig Hog charge that took that thing out, because that must have been absolutely epic. Oh, man. And obviously, for the uninitiated in the Plus, when someone beats Chris, they become the captain. So obviously, congratulations to Sam, who's only joined us very recently, but has obviously catapulted to the front. And is now the captain. So big target on his head. There is talk of a revenge bat ref, isn't there, Chris?
There absolutely will be.
I am also joined by my sensei, the lovely Scrivo. Scrivo, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good.
Yes.
I am recovered from the non-Christmas break that is hell in retail. I've been doing the sensible thing and taking it easy. And
Good.
Apparently, speed painting orcs is what you do when you're taking it easy. So apparently, I'm a team player now. So I'm painting the new orcs. The Wrecker Boys, apparently, they're quite good. I don't know what orcs do anymore, because apparently they broke my heart. So you can blame the bully boys for that, I think. But
I think orcs right now seem a lot of fun, but we'll come to that. Dante for PM in the chat says looking forward to it, Chris. I wonder who that is. I wonder who that could possibly be. So have you found time for any games alongside your hobbying, John?
Yeah, so I've been playing some very serious games of Kill Team, because instead of going to Nottingham this weekend, I'm going to Warhammer World and playing Kill Team. So I'm been playing Space Marines in that instead, because apparently you've just got to, if you're going to be boring, you've got to be boring in every game system and play just vanilla Marines. So.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I'll look forward to the report on that. I'm also joined tonight by our Stolen Trash member, Ben. How are you? I love your Dungeons and Dragons t-shirt. For the podcast listeners, Ben's wearing a very sexy Dungeons and Dragons t-shirt. It's very cool. What's new with you, Ben?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, we've had a nice, quiet, relaxed Christmas. I'm getting an itch for an event now. I'm missing out on Nottingham.
Oh no!
And I'm so ready. Like, I feel like I've got this little RTT, and then we've got teams in February. So I am gearing up, ready for teams.
That is very exciting.
Itching to get going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm doing something for Nottingham. I'm painting bloody guard tanks
What?
somehow.
Is that for Josh?
Yes, it is. He's
Oh,
decided
Josh.
3 Hydras is the way to go, and he can't paint them himself.
Triple Hydra is actually really good, annoyingly.
Really cheap, aren't they?
It's such a... You'll have them on your shelf for the rest of your life, and someone will go, why have you got those? You go, oh, well, once for 3 months they were 85 points, and Games Workshop did an absolute number on me.
So it sits on the shelf next to the Desolation Marines.
Yes, it does. With all the indirect as well, all the Manticores and the Basilisks. Oh, man. All right, what we're going to do, chat, I'm going to level with you. The way this works now, I'm very keen to get into our main topics quicker, so we're going to have some self-promotion and other update stuff later on in the show. We're also bringing segments back like I Fought the Law and the Law One, and just the tip as well for our any new listeners. You might not be familiar with these, so we'll explain them when we get to them. I'm just going to shout out the chat, then we're going to dive into a Grotmas tier list. Swiss is in, Gordon Chung is in, Martin Dorr is in. Hi, Martin. Mark says, finally get to catch a live one for once. Mark, you're very welcome. Enjoy yourself. Letters from Links is here, author of that wonderful GSC blog. Matakera Gaming thinks this is going to be interesting. Oh, it will be interesting. Barry says, hey, give him back. I assume that's about Ben. Well, he's always on temporary loan. It's fine. Sean Catewell is in. Because it's Sean Catewell, I do not fully understand what he's saying.
I do.
Never change, Sean. I love you so much. Oh, it's Leagues of Legends. Crap, yeah. John, that's what it is.
Yeah.
John's replaced with League
because
of
the hats.
We've got Aidan Brocklehurst in. Hi, Aidan. Thanks for the Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you as well. I Seen You Chief is in. Brainsteller is in as well. Amazing. Wow, loads of you here. It's awesome to have you. Please do hit the like, subscribe. That still matters, unfortunately. That hasn't changed over the turning of the year. And if you want to leave us a comment on the video, that obviously helps the algorithmic gods too. Remember, you can sign up as a YouTube member. Me and Chris want to play games on a yacht in Monaco. Only with your £2 a month can we possibly get there. So get on the YouTube membership, sign up and support us. We're going big this year. We're not holding anything back. So
turn the heating on first, Tom.
No, there will be no heating because my computer might explode because the fan still doesn't work. So we're not heating anything today. Oh. No, siree. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. We're going to do the main topic first. We're going to rattle through that. Then we're going to do some fun additional stuff around lore, tip, questions, New Year's resolutions, all that good stuff. If you have super chats, we'll obviously answer that whenever because, you know, money's money. Money talks. That's what I heard. So, Grotmas tier list. Here's how we're going to do this. You can go somewhere else if you want to find out what the best attachments are, and you know it. You're not here because of that. You're here because you like us, because we're charming and we have nice beards. And the main reason that we're doing three of us do. I have the illusion of a beard. I have the promise of a beard that never comes.
One day.
Yeah. My beard is like British economic growth. It always looks like it's going to happen. Never does. And then we're going to move. Yeah. So what we're going to be ranking them on is about how people feel about their Grotmas detachments. How do the player base feel? We would argue that matters more than how competitively viable in the top 1% of the faction players it is. I think it's very interesting because there really were some hits and misses, and we definitely learned a lot about where the game is at, and I think it's very interesting to assess the different detachments from the perspective of the players. As ever, I'm going to let my team go around and pick one at a time. And Chris's face says I should pick him first. I'm going to pick Chris to start us off. Chris, pick a detachment. Tell us how happy you reckon the fans are. I cannot believe you put Jack Chapman for the bottom tier. That is absolutely outrageous. That is Jack Chapman catching strays on the channel. Oh my god!
Oh, it's not wrong though.
No, it's not. That's why it's so.
I have a long memory. It's fine. So I guess I'll start with the other play, which is of course Grey Knights.
Grey Knights, Walkbane Task Force. Take us through it, Chris.
Upon reading it, I was like, and I've deep dived this before, so I'm not going to get on other videos. I'm not going to go into it too much, but basically the other detachment was being held up by Armour of Contempt, 3-inch Deep Strike, Sigil of Exigence, and Mr. Deimos. Well, Armour of Contempt's now quite crap. 3-inch Deep Strike doesn't exist, so therefore it was missed. This has given a lot of life to Grey Knights. I was definitely thinking of moving on. I was a bit bored. But this has now meant that you're starting to try and find units that you weren't previously using. And it's really changed up list building for me. You still play in the same sort of way because you still can be quite easily tabled. But you just have a lot more punch. Your Dread Knights are more consistent. Purifiers can put out work and blend. Suddenly you've got a super killy Tech Marine. Like, that's fun, isn't it? And I think it's just opened the doors to a lot of builds. And for me, it's really interesting that I know we're still early, but with the index detachment, we were pretty much like, you've got to take 30 Terminators now or 6 Dread Knights if you want to have a chance of being consistent.
Yeah.
And now, like, there's just like, you take somewhere between 0 and 6 Dread Knights, and there's no right or wrong answer. And that's kind of the base value. So I think Grey Knight fans are pretty happy. I think, in my opinion, the detachments stratagems are pretty crap. I've gone from scraping for every CP that I need, like, can I risk this? Can I afford this? To being like, I finished the game with 3 CP. Cool, because the strats are pretty boring.
That charge extender can fuck off. I played against that today. I don't
obviously,
like that. I don't like that one bit.
That is good. The 6-inch deep strike one is hard to make work, and obviously purifiers with full rerolls is good, but the others are crap. So
that's fair.
Yeah, for that reason, we're happy. I would say we're happy. It gives us.
I think definitely.
We're not super happy about it, but I'm pretty happy. I'm enjoying it. It's meant that I want to.
I think it ticks a lot of boxes, doesn't it? You're seeing different units, you're seeing different combinations, and it just, I think a boost in offensive output for an army that's been on the index is never going to be turned down, right? People aren't going to be like, oh, I didn't want to do more damage. Players rarely feel that way. I'm going to turn it over to Ben next. Ben, what are we thinking? What detachment do you want to do?
I'm going to start super negative, and I'm going to go with Thousand Suns.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Go on then.
Thousand Suns. I think there was a lot of hype. These Thousand Suns players were excited that they might get something that pushes them back up there again.
Yeah.
Especially we're like, no, stay down there. So I'm going to firmly put it in Jack Chapman tier if we can.
I think that's right.
I think it should join Jack.
I think I might have played the only recorded game of that detachment when we did our Grotmas TTS game. I've not seen any evidence of anyone using it.
It's just in comparison to that index, even after however many nerfs, I think it's just got nothing in comparison to that initial index. So they're not happy. They're not happy. Thousand Suns players.
It's worth saying you can make a really stodgy stealth castle of bricks of rubrics that resurrect via Exalted Sorcerers, and it's not bad. It's not a bad list. It will stat check things, but it's just not got any of the dynamism of that index attachment, does it? It doesn't have it. If you want to see me play it, go check out our Grotmas Bat Rep, in which I run my army of flamers into Tyranids. It's a good watch. Okay, John, Sensei, Scrivo, your pick. Let's go.
I'm going to go with the one that still gives me nightmares, and go with Death Guard.
Oh, lovely. Okay. What do you think? Where does this place, do you think?
I think it's really interesting that, like, it's got the same problem I think that the Grey Knights one has, that all the tricks that everyone's so used to and reliant on aren't there. So it's just like, cool, it's a different thing to play.
Yes.
But I think the fact that there is some variety after having 18 months of the same detachment, and some of that was almost unplayable, means that people are kind of like, they're okay with that. It's like, it's a holdover, right? So in theory, in the next 6 to 8 months, they're probably going to get a codex with 3 or 4 more detachments on top of that.
Yeah, completely.
It's something just to shake it up and kind of stop it feeling like they're just playing the same. And if they've only got that one army, at least it's some variety.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you get lands then? Where do you get lands?
I think it's an it'll do.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Bung it
cool.
in there. Yeah,
it's nothing special, but if you fancy playing something different, and probably a bit worse.
It's interesting. It's a skew, right? It's a pure skew. because I say you don't actually run it with multiple defilers like I did. I think you probably run it just pure infantry bodies.
But it was horrible.
But actually, that's tough. That's a real, that's a go wide when everyone's taking for vehicles. A whole bunch of stealth infantry is quite rough. I know Aidan Smalley smashed up an RTT with it. I think he got 300 scores. So you can do some very wild things with it. But
Just needs the right matchup.
definitely, definitely one of those things where I think it'll do is fair because I'm not sure it's every Death Guard player's favorite way to play the army.
No.
Okay, wonderful. I am going to take it to interesting. The Eldari one, just put it straight in the Jack Chapman tier. It's garbage. It's so bad that when Chris was assigned to review it for us, he read it and was like, "I don't want to."
He don't have a child just as an excuse.
Like, sorry guys,
now.
I've just found this baby and now I have to raise it, and I'm not going to make this video.
Sorry, my bad. It was like I just read it through and I was like, because I saw it's armored, okay, well Star Shatter's just come out and Advance and Shoot is good and blah, blah. And it's just like you read it and you're like, well, any list you would build would be better in the other detachment.
Yeah.
So why would you?
Yeah.
So
there's a few where it's like until they have a book, we're not going to really know where it sits and how it works.
I mean, it's just as well. Everyone would have kicked off if they'd gone in.
Yeah, I think they'd have kicked off if Thousand Suns had got anything good as well. It's interesting, isn't it? We'll see how it looks, but it might well be when they were writing, it was like, well, they're fine, so let's just give them some guts.
So it'll be like a reverse tier list.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
Well, the positive is you're not going to have an armored detachment in the book because this is on top of the book, thankfully.
I guess probably not. Yeah, I guess probably not. Batakera Gaming says just why. No, I agree. It was definitely one. You know when you read a thing and by the time you've read it, you've forgotten what it was. It was one of those. There was nothing in there that jumped out at me. Yeah. Okay, Christopher, it's your go again. Let's roll.
I'll go with Admech. I think in some ways Admech actually got a bit overshadowed because the day the Admech one came out, the Star Shatter got leaked.
Yes, it did. Yeah,
and so I think that was a bit of a shame because actually the Admech one was just fun. It kind of it gave them a tool book and lots of tricks for being able to just play general Warhammer.
Yeah, I agree.
And Admech do face this. It's quite funny because obviously we have Harley in our team who's been practicing Admech and complains about the number of models and stuff. I'm like, old Admech was like 100 and something Qatari Rangers. Vanguard. Like they just are an army which, even when you had 6 planes, still was a carpet. I mean, I played Manny in a game once and he had 6 planes, and
I remember that. Still. Yeah,
like it was just that style list. So they're always going to have lots of models, I think, realistically. I know Admech players would quite like the bots to get buffed and that sort of thing. It's not really happening.
Yeah.
But this seemed to be a nice selection of tools for a mixed arms force. I think it's really fun. It's not strong enough to call players over, but in the right set of circumstances, it is a really strong rule set. I think Admech players were happy. I know we had Jack Doddy in our chat. He was like, "Oh, this is so awesome, great." Obviously, Harley went, "This is shit."
Absolutely infamous take. Is so good.
Yeah, first shit.
Harley will be playing that on a live stream against Jack on TTS on Thursday night if you want to see the new Admech in action.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I definitely would, apart from the fact that then, or for me anyway, immediately went and had the Custodians and the Grey Knights ones.
Yes.
And I found them interesting. So I haven't really dived into it too much. But I think I've played one 10th edition game with Admech, and this detachment feels like how I would want to play the army.
Yeah, so, I totally agree. I felt the same reading it. It was one of those where I was like, because Admech's one of the only Imperial armies that I occasionally get the feelings for. And reading that detachment, I was like, oh, I could catch feelings.
Yeah, it just gives you a bit of everything. So I think Admech players are pretty happy. It's obviously not broken, so they're not super happy. But
no, exactly. No, and very, very deserved for Admech. Okay, Benjamin, back to you. Long first name, sir. That's what we're doing. Go on then.
I'm going to flip on my previous pessimism, and I'm going to go optimistic.
Okay.
Let's go Reaper's Wager.
Okay, Drakari Reaper's Wager. Let's talk about it, Ben.
Now, if we were judging this on a where does Ben think this is, as opposed to where does the whole faction think this is,
Yeah, it's very interesting,
it
isn't
would
it?
be in super happy.
Yeah, because you're not like all the other guys.
I am not like everybody else.
You like Harlequins a lot.
I think truthfully, it's probably falling into happy.
I think happy is right.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think a lot of the unhappiness comes from Drakari players that perhaps don't have their own little cohort of Harlequins already.
Yes.
And I think that's just what's maybe put people out of joint ever so slightly.
Yes.
But the detachment itself is there's so much you can do with it without having the Harlequins there. All of those stratagems are great, barring the -1 to hit in combat. So I think happy's a fair place to put it in comparison.
Yes, no, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think
it's a good detachment. It does good damage. It's got some fun tools. Playing with the Harlequins is fun, and so I like that. I like it for that. It feels more permissive than the other detachments that they have. It's tricky. It's not easy to play, and it doesn't ever feel like it's got enough resources to do everything it wants to do. Whether that's just me being greedy, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely cool. It is very cool.
100%.
And if you want to see me play that against Jack Chapman's Chow, that was our TTS Bat Rep last week. So that video is out now. Look at these little professional promos we got going. John in the hat. Jonathan. Are you a Jonathan?
Right.
You are a Jonathan.
I am. When
you?
I'm in trouble, I'm Jonathan Henry Scrivens. So I know
Jonathan Henry Scrivens. Listen to that. Right, you pick a detachment.
Right, I'm just opening it up.
You are such a Henry as well.
He's got such Henry energy.
We are Henry.
Energy. Unreal.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go with yet more power armored Space Marines.
Let's have it. All right.
To mix it up a bit. I'm going to go with the Codex Compliant Space Marines and the Librarius Conclave.
Okay.
So
nice.
I think this is an interesting one to me because I think it adds some real nice flavor and does something that the rest of the detachments don't do.
Okay.
But I think the community as a whole has just gone, oh, that's cute, and then moved on and got back to Gladius. Or Stormlance, or insert their favourite thing.
That's fair.
They've not even tried it. So I think it's probably somewhere in the mildly miffed purely because it's not the Necron detachment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Space Marines. But
I do think there's some source in it. It is really cool. Yeah, I think.
And if you put it in a non-compliant codex, it's really good. If you say put Inner Circle companions led by librarians, you get this really
Can you
horrible...
do that? That's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
afraid
they
of
get
that.
4 Pinvan, and then they get all the cool shenanigans, or like Stern Guard.
Wow.
It's got some really cool things that happen as a result of the balanced data slate, but I think a lot of people are just going, maybe. But like Ben from the team, he was playing it quite avidly for the first couple of weeks, and it was getting some good results. So I just think people just need to give it a go. But I think it got overshadowed by some of the more kind of bonkers ones straight off the bat.
Well, and Marines just got so many changes all at once. It's always hard, isn't it, to pass through
it was a bit overwhelming as a player where you were like, I've got the basic core changes and a new detachment for Blood Angels and one for Space, and you're suddenly just like, it's Christmas, just give me a break.
Yeah, it sounds like I could really do with a useful Dark Angels focus video guide on how to play that detachment at some point. Maybe I think that sounds like something that would help me too.
Maybe
sounds like
the way
something I could do with
Grotmas detachments have been requested, so they may come up soon.
Yeah, excellent. All righty, what am I going to pick? I'm just going to bung the entirety of Chaos Demons in Super Happy. And I say this with mixed emotions to an extent because obviously this probably means we're not getting a Demons book, but Demons essentially got given a codex worth of stuff for Christmas. That's really cool. And also there are some bonkers rules in there. The Zinch one is insane. The Sinesh one has some incredible control tools. Khorne is doing the Khorne things. And the Nurgle one, although everyone was slagging it off, is actually really good and horrible to play against as well. So I think this is actually one of the things, I think we had a question which we'll get to a bit later about Nottingham. Demons in general, like they've just been given a codex, right? And they were solid already. I think there's a really cool range of tools in here, and I certainly know that our True Demon Lord is having a good time. You should go over and check out his True Demon Lord channel because he's been diving into all of this stuff. I think it's awesome for demons. Really, really happy for them. Okie dokie, Christopher, you go again. Custodes, baby. Solar Spearhead.
I've been playing Custodes since 8th edition, and the reason I when I've gone off them is when it's been like the infantry type carpets, because I
Yeah.
love bikes and I love dreadnoughts. And hey, guess what? Bikes got a bit of a buff, and dreadnoughts got an entire detachment. It's a pretty cool detachment as
It's
well.
really cool.
The dreadnought data sheets needed a lot of work to bring them up to parity to have a chance of being played, and you can see that from the detachment, which has like
Yeah.
3 different rules to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, some people saying the army is super strong. The fact of the matter is that it is a skew,
Yeah.
and therefore a skew, unless it is absurdly broken, will still just not win many things because it will eventually run into its downfall.
Yeah.
Like, we played a game, obviously, Tom, late at
Yes.
night. I just deployed it on the line. Tom went first. I got tabled in 3 turns. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the thing, it's
Haywire,
not.
baby.
It was Turns out Haywire is really good into
Yeah, into an all vehicle list.
but yeah, so there is some finesse obviously to playing it. It's not just unbeatable stat check like Leviathan from the Iron Hands days or anything
Completely.
like that. But it gives you tools. It's got lots of people excited. It's given people a new way of playing Custodes, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's brought out the old Vendread. It's brought
Love
out the
him.
old Telemon.
I love it.
People
Yeah.
are dabbling with bikes again.
Yeah.
Poor Achilles, the best looking model in 40k, still not quite cutting it potentially.
Boo.
But yeah, I think it's good. Obviously, you've got some custodian players who are saying, "Oh, I wanted to have something different." Like there are some complaints from them, like they wanted their non-Forge World stuff buffed. Basically,
Yeah.
is what the argument is. So I wouldn't put it in super happy. I'd go happy. But yeah, it's been. But yeah, I think it's cool. I've played a few games with it now.
Yeah. It's very cool. It looks awesome on the table as well.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's like baby golden knights, really, isn't it? It's pretty
exactly
cool.
better knights, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
better
you
knights.
can get a lot of them on the board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, once you factor in that 3 of them are getting back up, there's actually quite a lot of them. There's more of them than it looks.
yeah, exactly.
Nice. All right, Benjamin, we're going back to you, mate. What are you having?
Oh, I think I'm going to take the Tyranids Warriors Detachment.
Okay, I'm excited to get your take on this.
So, I think the initial excitement was like, oh my god, Warriors are getting buffed. They might actually be somewhat relevant again.
Yeah.
And then you spend some time with the detachment and you go, yeah, but what if gargoyles?
Yeah,
With 5 up invul? And I
that
was
was definitely Davey's experience.
Yeah.
I was saying playing Davey, it was like, yeah, the Warriors are okay, but gargoyles that just ruined my whole game. Like they were just better. I think it's maybe mildly miffed. I think it was.
I think it might be fair.
Yeah, I think there was like a bit of hype that maybe Warriors might be somewhat relevant.
Yeah, it's
And
hard
they
to detach
really
it just from.
haven't been.
I'm not hearing good noises out of the Tyranid camp in
No.
general right now, and I
It's
think
like chittering noises.
I think
yeah.
very good. I just because Marine's getting buffed that much, I think Nids are just like, oh no, like, there's just so much gun out there for us right now.
I guess the expectation is as well that all their detachments are pretty viable. So
Yeah.
they're kind of like sitting there going, and this one too. And
They've
then
got
when it didn't
they've got a
quite,
really good board of options, and yeah, this one I actually think it's good. I think there is some play in it, but I think Nids in general the weather isn't so good. Swissy in the chat says a good indicator is if it's not being taken to Nottingham, and it isn't.
poor
Brand
Parasite.
new rule set left at home. That's never a great sign. I'm going to shout out the Casual Plateau. That is a fantastic name in the chat saying, got to catch you guys live. Let's go. Yes, there's a few people tuning in for the first time tonight. It's amazing to have you here. We're not this fun all the time. We've had a rest. So don't get suckered in. We'll be grumpy in about a month. But right now, we're having a really good time. So I'm going to pass it on to Jonathan. Jonathan Henry Scrivens, what's up? Let's go.
So I am going to go back to my starting point in the hobby, and I'm going to go with the Orcs with the Tactical Brigade.
Wow.
So my biggest problem with the Codex was that all of the detachments lent into specific units, and it was very much an archetype, but very unit heavy. So you kind of felt penned in.
Yeah.
This detachment not only doesn't seem to do that,
no,
but it's also is a Blood Axe detachment. I don't think
Yeah.
they've ever done one where
Yeah.
they've had kind of special rules for Blood Axes that wasn't just like, or
Yeah.
it gets misused and is used with a Cult of Speed to be more
Yeah.
really fucking obnoxious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting. I haven't played it, but the impression I get at the moment from all my other guys in the Big War is that it's exciting enough that it's like, do I take this or do I take?
Yeah, it's a genuine
the
premier option. Yeah, it
and
really
I like
is.
that, but a lot of the time it loses out at the moment just because people aren't getting the reps in. So I think people are. I would say it's happy, not super happy, because
that's fair.
They're excited that they've got the choice, but people haven't put the work into it yet. So I think give it a couple of months, and I think we'll see it there a bit more.
Yeah, completely. I think this one, of all the Grotmas ones I've played against so far, this was, I think, the best one. I think it's really good.
An interesting tool set. The Orcs didn't have access to all this sort of stuff, like fall back and shoot, all these different things that an Orc player goes, you can do that in the game?
And obviously it is sort of interlinked with the arrival of the new kill teams, because they obviously really suit it and other things. But the killer one for this, I think the biggest difference playing against it was like with Orcs, normally you know what they'll do because they have to war and all their damage is in the war. This doesn't have to play like that. It's got choices. You could probably war turn 4 or 5 with this thing if you wanted to, because the guns are so good that you've got other ways to play the game in the early stages. So I think that's really cool. I think Orc players deserve a bit of flexibility. The book was cool, but it was very linear in the options, wasn't it? I think.
And when they do a good Orc shooting list, it's often oppressive. There's never been that quite balance to it. And at the moment, I'm hoping that this has got it right, that it's playable without it having to be slapped down to not being usable again.
100%. I'm going to pick Creations of Bile next. I'm going to put them straight in super happy because CSM players can run all melee and run at people, and that's what they like to do. So that's all they're good at. It's all they've ever been good for. They don't have to pretend to do all these tanks and other stupid things. They can go back to just I'm charging an entire army at you really, really fast. It's cool. It's very flavorful. It makes all them combat infantry better. And it's got a great suite of stratagems, and all the CSM players I know are pretty hyped about it and enjoying it a lot. I don't actually think it's necessarily that strong. I think it's a bit one-dimensional. It's going to be interesting to see where its data falls in that sense, but it is very good at what it does, and that's a fun place to be.
It's a good teams thing. I think.
It definitely is. I mean, I freaking hope it is.
Give them a melee skew, right? It means you're not just going, right, let's take all the guns as CSM. You put the guns in a different codex instead and just go full angry.
Barry in the chat says, woo, let's go 30 possessed in your deployment zone turn 1, baby. Yeah, I mean, it is that energy, right? It is, whoops,
Barry, were you
I'm
at
all
my
over
club
it.
on Friday? Because that's what happened to me, and it was horrible.
No, he did it to me the other day though. It was not fun. I was like, yeah, infiltrating troopers. Like, yeah, no, see you later.
Yeah, definitely do not do that against Bile. No, that thing is just like. So
I've learned.
Would you like to kill one portion of my army for free at the start? Okay, there you go. Oh man. And Matigaro is struggling to get hold of a Fabius Bar in the chat. Azuma Kazuma says, I wonder how many people they have working on the detachments. Feels like an A and B team situation. So I'll raise you. No, it is not. It is not that. I feel like there's quite a unified approach, but the detachments that are hurting primarily, either there's already a very good suite of detachments for that faction, or that army doesn't yet have its book, which is a theme we'll get to a little bit later. Yes. It's the ones that don't have books. There is inevitably going to be a change in how that army functions and a shift away from the index. And the indexes were, by definition, like, here's a bunch of the best things this army should do. And gradually we're losing that with the books. Yeah. But if you've still got that, any like side serving is going to feel a bit mad. I think that's a big part of it. Maybe there are a couple that we'll get to where it just doesn't feel like there's that much put in. But it doesn't feel like there's two camps for me. I think it's just more about where that faction's at this moment in time. Cool. That's Creations of Bile. Go fast, smack things. Just take +2 movement. I keep arguing with people about this. I mean, if you could be as fast as elves for free, and you're CSN, just do it. Anyway, Chris, your turn.
I'm going to go Blood Angels, and this was again met with mixed reactions because it wasn't at all to be. I think, well, as Blood Angel players, the initial instinct was it doesn't have advance and charge. It's shit. Like that was the general vibe that I picked up on from people.
Yeah.
And then a few people started, like Art of War's Jack Harpster was like, this is amazing. I'm probably going to take it to LVO.
Ooh.
Like there was just these starts of like chat type things going on. And then eventually people have come round to it now because it just lends itself to a very different style of list. You're no longer playing this MSU tradie game. You're leaning a bit more into shooting. Your shooting's going into the oath target. Every other unit is led by a character, and you're re-rolling hits and wounds of 1. And so, therefore, it's just a different style. If you're bloodthirsty, like some people, Sam, then you're not going to want to play Blood Angels. But I think people are starting to come round to it.
Okay.
I think probably mainly at the higher level it'll get dabbled in, maybe. I suspect at the end of the day, Liberator Assault Group is just so
It's
the
a
Blood Angel
really
way
fun way to play the game, isn't it?
that people aren't just that excited by this new one because it's not overtly like powerful. It's going to take a bit more effort. It's going to take you potentially using models that you don't normally use and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'll put it in that it will do.
I think it will do about right. Yeah,
but it leans towards the closer end of happy for some. But I think
it feels like a lot of Blood Angel players had just started to find their feet with
this is the killer thing.
Yeah.
They're still just discovering the original book, right? And this isn't as immediately good as LAG. No, that's very fair, I think. Okay, Benjamin, you'll go.
Let's go Tau. I thought the Tau detachment was really interesting.
I think it's interesting.
And I think so far my only reaction I've seen is Jax from the TTS game. And I'm not sure, is he all Tau players?
I don't think necessarily Jack is indicative of the average psyche. I'm not afraid to say that. It's interesting. I don't know what the wider Tau response has been, to be honest.
But I think it's probably it'll do, right?
I think so.
It's not Cao Yun, it's not Retcad, But like, it's cool. I get to play with some crew. I get to play with some Vespid and have some somewhat meaningful rules without having to run 2,000 points of crew.
The damage output on it was nuts. I mean, you go and watch that game. Whenever Jack sees me, I die, and I die very, very quickly. I don't think it gets around Tau's sort of main issues in game at the minute. But that fallbacky strat thing, I mean, that's really fun as well.
Yeah.
I think it requires a bit of sort of rethinking in how you use it. But no, I think it's solid, but it's interesting. Tau in general not pulling up trees right now, right? So probably it's not going to change that.
Well, they just had a bit of a dunk down, right? So they're probably still just kind of licking their wounds.
Yeah. Oh, bless them. John Henry Scrivens, it's your go.
Jeez. All night that's gonna
look how efficiently and quickly we're getting through this, by the way. So, we are on time.
It's because you whipped us before stream.
Yeah, I didn't. There was no whipping. There was a pep talk. It was a pep talk.
Motivational.
So, speaking of things that needed resuscitating,
yeah,
there was an army that basically was dead, and then they just went, "Here you go, have an army again." The Death Watch.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not just the same detachment with a different hat on. There's genuinely some nice changes to it.
Yeah.
And I think this is one where the Death Watch community, it could have been the same thing just printed out again for them, and they would have been super happy. But I think they are genuinely super happy because they've got their army back.
I totally agree.
And I think that tells Games Workshop perhaps that maybe don't just remove someone's army from being functioning as a blindside. Maybe just be a bit more gentle with people's money and emotional kind of frailties of this sort of situation. But
I don't know if we have a Death Watch in the. I'm just looking in the list.
No, we don't.
We don't have an option. Was there an Imperial Agents one that came out?
There is.
It was the Assassin one.
Okay, well, we're going to need to find a Death Watch one. We'll do that in a second. John, where would you put this?
I think it's super happy because they're just glad that they're able to play the game.
I agree. I totally agree. I think it's very cool.
And it is genuinely interesting.
We will. Is anyone who's actually operating that thing?
Me.
Let me send Chris one.
Someone send Chris an image and he'll work that in. Hello, John C, who's shouting out. I mean, I've just recorded a state of play with Jack Tite, who won a GT with the Death Watch this weekend, just gone. That will come out next week. He really loves it, and it's very cool. It's very techy. It's very smart. You have to use the tools in the right ways. but also it's got that chunky kill team stat checky dimension to fall back on as well. And it's versatile in its movement and its output. So I think it's very, very cool. I could be tempted, except I'm not sure what the long term life of the Deathwatch in the game is. But otherwise, I'd be very tempted. There's some chat about how to start Deathwatch, and there's some hype for it in there as well. That's awesome. Okay, so for my pick, I'm going to go Chaos Knights. That's my pick. And for me, the Chaos Knights one that is interesting. I enjoyed it. I think there's some fun little combination plays in there. The Chaos Cultist units are not dreadful. So you can do some interesting things with this. I think it's certainly better than the IK one. But ultimately, it's not bringing enough, I think, to get people off of the current way of playing CK. And obviously, a lot of people are getting run through walls handed out right now. I don't think CK players are not going to rush to take that away from themselves. So I would probably put them in mildly miffed, I think. I think it'd be mildly miffed for the CK. Potentially even worse. Aiden Brockhurst says Deathwatch Detachment, definitely cool. Yeah, I think it's really fun. Definitely got some play. Were we able to find... Yes, okay, we've got the Deathwatch in. Wonderful. Okay, that moves it along, and that takes it to Chris again.
So Necrons are quite good. They obviously had this situation where this got leaked. Everyone was like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. David Gaylord did an entire podcast on how obscenely broken it is. The internet went into meltdown, which you always love. Gives everyone content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it as ridiculous? Is it as ridiculous as first thought? I don't know. I've not played into it. Harley has. He got absolutely bummed. So,
the early reports are it's winning quite a lot of stuff, and certainly Slops, who I've been coaching, the game reports coming in are pretty violent and one-sided at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's definitely it's the premier shooting detachment in the game right now, I think, isn't it? Probably. I think next one players themselves probably have mixed feelings about it, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to get to be at the top of the pile, then you're great. Harley's joined just in time for that. That's so good. Oh, good. I wonder. Yeah, so many in-jokes. You carry on. What do you think of it anyway? Have you played it at all?
No. I think it obviously has. It's got that toolbox, right? It's got all the different options. There's lots of arguments. Should you have Silent King? Should you not? Etc. And I think it coincides with the fact that something like Hypercrypt got nerfed at the time. So this is now just immediately risen up as the detachment, and it just so happens to be, really good one. And as Ryan says in the chat, it's the fact that it's not just, you've got the advance and shoot, but it's the +1 to hit on objectives. It's like good across the board. And you still just get good data sheets because, as we know, the Necrons have good data sheets. If you don't kill them, they come back and shit. So, I think it's just a very good all-rounded detachment. It'll be interesting to see how it does at Nottingham. I think that'll be...
Ryan Goodwin says it's actually as good for melee as it is for shooting. That's interesting. Okay, that's a bit alarming. I haven't seen the list yet, but all I know is if they've put wraiths back in, I've just lost already. So it's so I won't worry too much about it because there's not a lot I can do if they put those back in. Oh dear. Alrighty, taking it back over to you, Benjamin. Let's go.
I am going to go for World Eaters. World Eaters, I think, is an interesting one because it was. I would have been apprehensive as a World Eaters player because, where do you really go for another detachment for an army that wants to run at you and punch you? Right? What other suite of tools do you give them? But I think overall, it's not bad.
I don't think so.
It's been pretty well received, and I think that they've kind of hit it really quite nicely. So I think I'd go happy with that.
Yeah, I think so. I think Davey really enjoyed his game.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Davey's taken it to Nottingham, isn't he? So clearly Davey is the Premier World Eaters player. So if he's taking it, it must be all right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's the only Plus that actually stayed World Eaters main from last Christmas. I think.
Oh shit! Do you remember when we were all going to be World Eaters mains? That was a whole
time.
Half belt just over there.
I tell you, I'm very glad. a guy never got back to me in one of the sales chats, and I'm glad he didn't, because that would have been another half-finished project that I never got anywhere with. I've been saved from that, ready to not finish some Emperor's Children in a few months' time. Can't wait. Alrighty, that I think means it's John Henry Scribbins again. Go on, Henry.
So again, another one that's only got its index detachment is the Leagues of Votan.
Yeah,
this is one that I've had really mixed messages from people, because I think it's very interesting that you look at it and go, it doesn't operate at all in the same way.
Yeah,
it feels like it's missing half of the rules.
Yes,
because it feels like this has been written with them sitting there going, here's the book that's going to be out in 6 months' time. Here's the layer that's probably going to be on top of that. It doesn't make sense.
Yes,
in some respects. It's just
I
think it's just very much like, if things like all the judgment tokens recalibrating and changing and being put as a different thing, it might make more sense. But at the moment,
I think so.
Go, huh?
Yeah.
So people are just looking at it going, why would I do this? This feels just worse.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff, right? But
it's so difficult to do against, like, you're ranking it against being able to have +1 to hit and wound army wide against 4 things at the start of the game,
is just bonkers,
and then
right?
three extra CP in the second round. That's insane, right? That you can't write something now that's going to level up with that. No. And I mean, I've covered this. There was a little video for Rock and Stone a couple of days ago where we looked at it and went through it. And I think it probably tells us more about where Votan is going, than where they're at right now. But if you want to make an 8 wounds Einhir champion and run him around being chunky, you can do that for a mere 10 points. You can do that, and that is actually a lot of fun in and of itself. But no, I don't think Votan players are delighted with it. I think that's fair to say. I think it is mildly miffed. I think it's going in the Book of Grudges.
Because it was the later end of the releases as well. They'd seen more hits than misses, and then they got done a little bit. It probably felt a little bit stinging.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that takes it to me. I will go I'm going to apply some objectivity, and I'm going to go with the GSC final day. Now, this is hard. I think I've probably already told this story, but I literally, in the summer last year, I started buying a few boxes and to do Tyranids. Me and John were going to do Crusade. We're always going to do Crusade. We never actually find time. One day we will, when we've got the yacht office. Sure. But essentially, I was going to do Vanguard Onslaught, and I was like, I'll get some Lictors, I'll get some Pure Strains, I'll get Deathleaf, I'll get these things. And I got a few boxes, and then I was like, I don't have time to do this. I'm insane. I'm going to sell them. And I sold them, and then the detachment comes out, and it's like, you can play Vanguard Onslaught with GSC. And I'm like, I could have literally done this. But I think the actual play of Final Day is good. It plays well. You can do some good things with it. You can get very silly things like Ridge Runner lasers hitting on 2s, rerolling their 1s. That's not bad. And I think it actually is a lot of fun opening up the midboard control combination of GSC and Tyranids. That is kind of crazy, the amount of stuff you can have in the midboard. So I think a lot of GSC players are actually pretty positive about it, and a lot of NIDS players are quite enjoying it. So I'm going to get over my own personal experience with it. I'm going to put it in happy. I think people quite like it.
Do you think there's actually a Venn diagram of players that own both armies where there's been a genuine...
I think there is. And it's like probably before my time with GSC, because it was more permissible, wasn't it, in like 8th edition and before. That's not me, really. I wasn't playing GSC then. I was a 9th GSC baby, really. Okay, that takes it back to Chris. What are you doing, Chris?
I'll go for Guard.
Pew pew, Bridgehead.
So Guard are obviously... They for a while now they've been really strong.
Yeah.
And then they took a few nerfs, and then they got this. And this is also quite strong.
Yeah.
I played into it at the weekend, and you can certainly see the utility there. I know some of the stronger players in the country are looking at it and pretty interested, because at the end of the day, Guard just play Warhammer well, don't they? So any opportunity to jump into it and just obliterate your opponent with a bunch of scions. I mean, to put it in perspective, like he was like, yeah, they killed most things. I'm like, Grey Knights are pretty strong. I think you'll find, and it's like, there's just never any doubt. Like this little 15-man dude squad just dropped down, dead Dread Knight immediately. I was like, oh, nice, okay. Just so happens my entire army was filled with anti-infantry. So
yeah, that was fine.
But other than that,
It's pretty crazy, the
for
output.
some armies, that is just going to obliterate things. And if he built his list in a different way, or wasn't stuck on the ravine where he couldn't move his Rogal Dawn around or whatever, that actually might be in a different game. So I think guard players are happy. They've got a book on the way as well. They've got some incredible Krieg models too. It's a great time to be a guard player, really, isn't it? As always. So yeah, I'll put it in happy, maybe super happy. I don't know. I don't really like any guard players.
They
So
might get super happier next week, though, Chris.
Maybe.
Dropping.
We've got some mixed opinions coming through in the chat.
It's not mixed, Tom, at all. Stop.
Okay.
They all are very angry.
The Votan community has spoken. We're putting Votan in the Jack Chapman tier because there is a very strong consensus coming through that everyone hates it. So that's fine. That's okay. I'm not going to argue with you. Emily Barrett, hi Emily, thinks that the new town attachment is brilliant and has got game-winning tricks. I agree. I really agree. Brilliant. I think it's very good. I think there's some awesome stuff in it. I think the crucial thing with this is you have to push it forwards a bit more and get more involved in the game, because there's no point having a reactive move to fall back if all you're going to do is fall back from your own third into your own line. Okay, so you need to create the situations where it matters, and the only way to do that is to jam stuff down the opponent's throat. So you need to be very proactive with that detachment, I think.
So you've got to play 40k, not just
Aiden, yes, indeed. Aiden Brocklehurst says he's super happy with Bridgehead so far. For God's sake, the last thing I want to deal with is Aiden Brocklehurst playing guard. I don't need that, Aiden. You were such a nice young boy. Okay. I think it's Ben now. Benjamin, I think it's your turn.
It is.
Over to you, sir.
Oh, any of these could be wild now, because I'm looking at this list and I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about any of these. So it's going really wild. I'm going to go Imperial Agents.
Oh, God, I don't know. I literally don't know what it does. I didn't think they got one.
I had no idea they even had one.
It buffs assassins. Okay. I
mean, if you're a pure Imperial Agents player, you've got to be pretty happy, right? Because you had an index out of nowhere, and now you're like, I have 2 detachments. How have they even managed this?
They've got a codex, mate.
Yeah, they've got a
codex.
Mind blown, boys. Mind blown. Where have I been for the past 3 months? I thought it was just an index.
They do. Codex. They have a book. People are going into Games Workshop thinking that's a book, buying it and taking it. Like, that is genuinely happening to people. So what do you reckon then, Ben?
I'm going to say they've got to be super happy with getting this random new detachment for an army that shouldn't even be a codex.
You sound like our fucking government. Just be grateful you exist.
Be so happy
that you exist.
No, it's just crazy to me that they have a whole detachment for Grotmas.
Oh, we've got more. I think the call has gone out somewhere because we've got more people arguing for Votan to be voted down. Votan has been voted down, guys. I'm very sorry. I should have known people didn't like the Votan detachment because no one wanted to see that video about what it was doing. No, everyone was looking at that going, I will not watch that, thank you, because I want nothing to do with it. Oh my word. So there we go. Super happy for Imperial Agents players because they're just happy to be alive. And then we're going to move it over to you, John Henry Scrivens. What are you doing?
So what I'm going to do is get the 2 things that my army are known for and get a detachment for it, not just 2 separate detachments. So Dark Angels with the Lion's Blade.
Okay. Go on,
I
then.
think Dark Angels players are happy with it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're super happy because it's not game breaking. I think that's the only time ever people are really super, super happy when they've already got some solid.
Yeah, just like those Imperial Agents fans.
Yeah.
They're super broken. But I think it gives a solution to the mounted problem for at least the Ravenwing bikes, which is nice.
Yep, sure.
And gives them some play that isn't just, right, you can only play the bikes. Because there's nothing worse than going, you have one unit that can go through walls, but the rest of your army that's all bikes, they're going to stay behind those walls. Yes. That sounds like a boring game. So if you go, right, let's blend it together, it creates the idea of a list not just being one thing. And I think that's quite exciting. Yeah, and it's not really what the book covered before. So
yeah. But no, it definitely felt very flavorful as well, which is nice.
Just again, the one big thing that I think that mildly miffs the people kind of edging into the Jack Chapman kind of territory is that the Lion still doesn't actually do anything in a fucking detachment.
Yeah, that
It's
is
like,
annoying.
what planet are they on?
Yeah, that's
But
a
yeah.
shame. That is a
But
shame.
I think that's probably intentional at this point, because I think if you give him any of the keywords, it needs to be 500 points.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know what's going to happen. Someone will abuse it.
We're pretty ready for a speed run of these last four guys. So
These even armies.
well, yeah, exactly. So Black Templars, Righteous Crusaders is a fantastic Black Templars attachment. This one is not. So put it in the Jack Chapman tier. I've not heard anything good said about it or anyone excited about it, and several people in the chat have cussed it out. That'll do. Moving it over to you, Christopher. What are you doing?
Cool. All Sisters players hate everything to do with Warhammer at the moment. Yeah. Boom. Jack Chapman's here. Done.
Fantastic. Over to you, Benjamin.
Let's go for Imperial Knights.
Okay.
Really scraping the barrel to try and remember what this one got.
It can, but lets you slip
Admech.
some Admech in, Ben.
Oh, yeah,
Not
no,
the
they
good
hate
stuff.
that. They hate that. Jack Chapman, here we go.
Jack Chapman tier, let's go. We're really filling out the Jack Chapman tier in the final running. It's on its way to being the biggest tier of the entire thing. Okay, John Henry Scrivens, bring us home.
So I think the Space Wolf players haven't even realised that this is a detachment for them at this point, because they're all so excited that their actual detachment is playable.
Yeah.
They're all just too busy going that or Stormlance that they're like,
Yeah.
they can't count on three fingers.
I don't know what
because-
this does, but I know it obviously doesn't do enough because I've not
No.
seen Paul
It's
even
just a
talk about
heroic
it.
Well-
intervention within 3 inches one or something.
It's got some cool stuff, but let's put it this way: Paul is taking Dark Angels. To Nottingham.
Oh, is Paul back on Dark Angels now?
Yeah, he's
Amazing.
taking the Lion in Stormlands.
Okay.
I'm
All right,
just
well,
saying
let's put it in Jack
that
Chapman
tells
tier
me
then.
that it's Jack Chapman.
That's fine. So that, guys, is the definitive ranking of Grotmas Detachments. You can go and post this
Perfect.
around.
No
We'd
worries.
love it if people that follow
Share
other
on
shows-
Reddit.
Share it on Reddit, and people that follow other shows that take this seriously can fucking laugh at us again, as they are as they
It
are
feeds me.
prone to do. Aiden's in the chat from Discussing the Resilient podcast. Recap of Fly Blown for Death Guard was it's very effective, but very monodimensional. I think the competitive viability, which is undeniable, keeps it up there. But I wouldn't say Death Guard players are falling over each other to try and play that detachment as often as they
They're
possibly can.
irritated that they are
But
playing.
don't worry, Aiden. We shouted out you winning an event with it. Don't you worry. I've got you covered. Very well done, you little hero. All right. That's us done for this segment. We're trying to be nice and snappy. I've got a show structure that I wrote down because I'm being more
And it's
organised.
making him very uncomfortable, guys. It's hilarious.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's self-promotion now because we're very good at self-promotion, possibly the best. We've moved it to the middle. Statchet do it that way. We want to be like them, right? Chris, what's new in the world of the Plus?
Just a billion videos.
Yeah.
If you follow us on social media, you'll know that we've started doing a schedule. We've
Yes.
actually done it 2 weeks in a row, guys.
Oh,
2 weeks
just
in a row.
fucking just.
Oh, God.
We've already
Done
done
it.
next week's.
So yeah, and that's showing kind of just a hint at what's coming each day, because in fact there's multiple.
There's more than
videos
on there, yeah.
on you should like the monthly schedule has stuff coming out every single day. Members Day is Friday,
Every single
so if
hour.
you're a member, you're getting a video every Friday, and then everyone else, all you freeloading bastards, are getting
Yes, you
are getting lots and lots of wonderful videos. Like the whole of January is packed out. I mean, there's just things on everything really. There's counterplay different units. There's event reports. There's thoughts on just a whole different host of armies. We've got live TTS battle reports every Thursday now with some really interesting guests booked on to come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great time to be a subscriber, everyone. Really,
It really is.
Life is good.
Yeah, it's good. I think the little break and the reorg was really useful, wasn't it? And so I want to shout out everyone who filled in our members survey and followers survey as well, because we got some really useful comments from that. And actually, the most reassuring thing was that a lot of it was we really like what's already happening. But I think there were some really little useful tweaks in there that we've applied, and we've obviously all gone away and thought as a team about what we're going to do. And it's going to be awesome. It feels pretty fun so far. It's pretty good. Have we got anything else needs promoting?
We were going to shout out Debbie.
Oh, yes, we were going to shout out Debbie. Debbie gave
shout
some
out Debbie.
incredible feedback.
Some really detailed feedback, so thank you very much for that, Debbie. We've got a tournament coming up this year.
Yes.
We're at a stage now where we've got 14 tickets remaining. All the information you need is on the Facebook event page, which can be found through our Facebook page. All the links are in the link description.
Yep.
But yeah, we're now at the stage where we just I'm going to start buying up the prizes and getting that all sorted, and putting plans in place for that. So that's really exciting. I think we should probably mention that 2 of our members managed to make the final, or not the final, but the 20 for England, didn't they, Tom?
Oh yeah, they did do that. Yes. So yes, I don't know if this full announcement has gone up, but the England 22 squad for WTC and Pyra and various other bits in this summer has just been announced, and myself and Ed Watts of our team have both made selection for that, and I will be going to play for England at Pyra in Poland in February with one of a squad selected from that team as well. So that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool.
Very cool.
I've played more Warhammer than I would typically choose to play.
How many games have you played in?
We hit 80 before Christmas during the selection. That's a lot of games, Chris.
In like what, a month, 2 months?
In 2 or 3.
2 or 3 months.
That's too much Warhammer, but it does turn out when you play that much, you do get better at it. So that's something, and I'm glad I've done it. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. But it's very, very cool to be selected. So I'm very proud of Ed as well, because Ed has been amazing this year for us at ITT. You know, that 5 like 20-0s or whatever it was, that did him no harm in his selection quest, and we're very proud of him as well. And I do want to shout out Harley, because Harley had an incredible first year involved in England. If you compare how Harley's first year went to mine, Harley was just competing and involved and right up there at the top level from the start. He really impressed people at Battle of Britain, and I think the feeling in England is that he's got a huge future ahead of him as well. So very, very proud of you, Harley. Well done. Okay, and so obviously we've got the event in Barnsley, and then the only other thing to shout out was our Bootcamp Plus. If you are in the Saffron Walden, Cambridgeshire area, you would like to come to a bootcamp and learn how to play Warhammer with myself, Chris and Lewis, that is happening on February the 9th, and there are tickets from Lewis's website, which is Elmo Miniatures. We'd love to have you. That'd be really, really cool. Finally, as ever, we do coaching, mentoring, all that good stuff as well. Me and Chris have been really enjoying it lately, and we've got the wonderful Ed Watts joining us for coaching soon as well. We will have a website. We didn't quite get the website. I don't think the website's quite done for today. We'll get that website announced up for you very soon. But yeah, if you want to get taught how to play Warhammer by one of us, get in touch. We'd love to help you. Right, that's all the promo. Let's move it along. We've got more segments to do. So the next one is the return of I Fought the Law, and the Law won. And all I'm going to talk about today is a little segment on that bad man, the Solitaire. And maybe Ben and Chris, who are both Solitaire fans, can help me out with this. But the essential point of Solitaire... Chris, this is a law segment. This is not a competitive segment. This is a law segment. Okay. So the Harlequins are obviously performing many plays, and the plays that the Harlequins perform are all about the history of the Eldar. And one of the things they do a lot of is performing the fall of the Eldar and the birth of Slaanesh. The Solitaire is the Harlequin chosen to play Slaanesh itself. So if you look at the Solitaire, he's got a little horned mask. He's very gribbly, he's supposed to be Slaanesh, and he's chasing all the others around, presumably trying to eat them or tickle them or something. I've not seen the dance. So I don't know. Yeah, come here, you little rascals! I'm going to get you. And I think that's why you can only have one. That's why it is by definition the Solitaire. It's why it's on its own, because there is obviously only the one evil Slaanesh in the play, and obviously that's what it's supposed to represent on the tabletop. Now, in competitive 40k, as Chris alludes to, what the Solitaire does is generate catastrophic disappointment. That's what it does better than anything else. I want to shout it out. My last use of the Solitaire, I was playing a lovely game with Josh Cowlard. Well done as well to him for making England selection this time around. And I saw some tank busters, and I was like, Solly can go get the tank busters. It's perfect. I was like, I'm going to blitz him. He's quite a way away. We're going to blitz him. And he rolled a double 1 on his blitz. And I was like, oh, he can't reach now. He's too far away, and he's used his blitz, and he can't do anything, and now he's going to have just his normal attacks and move for the rest of the game. Well done, Solitaire. Proud of you. Absolutely brilliant. Ridiculous.
Piece of shit.
He's just
That's my game plan.
He's so good.
He's very.
I think he generates stories better than most models in the game, though.
Yeah.
You know, I would not want to not take him because I wouldn't want to miss out on that.
He does put the fear of God into your opponent.
Oh yeah, he does.
Any opponent who's never played against one is like, oh, that sounds really scary. Most people who have played into one are like, whatever. He can run and do his thing. He'll probably fail, and then I'll kill him because he has 3 wounds.
Yeah,
but you know,
absolutely. I'm going to shout out John C, who's just become a member in the chat. We love it.
Woo, woo, woo.
Amazing. We're just knocking on the door of 70 members. So go on, guys, sign up. We'd love a few more members tonight. That'd be absolutely fantastic. We're trying to go big this year, and we're working very hard. We'd love to see that rewarded. And obviously, the more members we get, the more we're going to make, and it's just going to get sillier and sillier and more out of hand.
A little humble brag here is traditionally our data looks that we probably get somewhere between the late 200s and the late 300s of subscribers in a month.
Yeah.
And we've had like nearly 200 subscribers in the first week of this month.
It turns out when you apply yourself, it really...
videos every day and the internet comes.
It's funny because it literally, in my actual life, about 2 months ago, I started making lists of things like to do. And it turns out that really works. And this is just more of that. So the unfortunate lesson of the new year is just that, just write stuff down and plan, and then it all goes well. But thank you to everyone who's engaged with the content. It's been absolutely amazing. We've had a lot of encouragement on the videos, and that helps. They make it so much easier to go back and make another video when you've had a bunch of people saying nice things about the last one. So thank you to all of you. We are so lucky to have the fans that we have. All right, next segment. Just the tip. I've got a little tip for you. It's about scout lanes, but I actually reckon young Benjamin would know all about scout lanes as well. So I'm going to throw it over to him in a moment. Lane. It's very important to either have them or deny them. But what are they, Ben?
Well, scout lanes. I am assuming. I feel like I was not briefed on this. Scout lanes.
Stop Ben here. Like, here's just a tip. Scout lanes. Over to you, Ben.
I'm assuming it is the lanes in which I can scout.
That's exactly correct, models. Ben. That's exactly right.
That's simple. Resident idiot here.
And how do we either protect or deny them, Ben?
So, we either protect them with infiltrates or deny them with infiltrates.
Very, very good. And so in the early stages of deployment, it's very important to be looking at, well, where can they yeet a scout moving unit at me? Maybe I should put 5 infiltrating guys there to make sure that doesn't happen. Alternatively, where do I want to go? And if I can put 5 guys down, that's going to secure it as well. I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been playing with a stupid scout moving raider that I don't need in the Reaper's Wager. And it's very, very sad if that can't move anywhere at the start of a game. So I'm trying to make sure that I've got a nice lane for it so it can then move out and do its thing. So always be looking on the board. Where are the obvious scout moving lanes? Do I need to block some? Am I a defensive player? Do I need to stop them coming at me? In which case I need to shut that down. Do I want to keep it open? In which case I'm going to put something. And top tip, additional bonus tip. 2 tips at once is a bit much, I think, but there we are.
Oh my God, very Slaneshi again.
There's Slanesh again. If you can block out scout lanes with a unit you can then redeploy, no cost. You don't even lose something. So Gaunt's Ghost is very good for this. Creep Fast Stalkers are very good for this. It's extremely irritating for the opponent, but that's like a no trade blocking of the lanes. It's wonderful. So if you've got an army that has access to that,
reverse on that tip, though, I would say, is watch out for things like Gaunt's Ghost because they might put them there, making you go somewhere else. But know they're going to pick them back up again. Call their bluff.
Absolutely.
Call their bluff.
100%. And we've got a shout out from John C for Chris's I Am the Hammer content saying it's as good as the paid stuff from War. I completely agree. Chris's content is absolutely incredible. And I Am the Hammer has been a really, really cool series. It was actually something we were teasing him about a year ago, like what you need to do is just pick a faction and just double down on it and make content for it. And he's done that over months and months through good and bad messes for Grey Knights.
For you guys.
And it's just, but it really shows what you get out of that, right? And I think I absolutely love those videos. They're absolutely amazing. And hopefully we've got another one coming before too long, I think.
Well, hoping if we could wrap this up. An event report to film.
Interesting fact, Chris. John C is a captain. One day you could be a captain.
One day.
Yeah, it's true.
I got Big Sam again.
Yeah, we've not really established the system for Chris getting the captaincy back. It sort of stays lost until we forget it's been lost, and then we give it to someone else.
So next week, Chris will be captain. Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when Jamie East got it. That was a dark day. That was a bad day for the Blues.
That was a very dark day. I genuinely still remember that game, and if I think about it too much, I still get an element of rage.
So good. All right, guys, we are in the end game now. So we're going to do podcast questions. We've got a few in the Discord, not too many. We're going to talk about New Year's resolution. So if the guys have a New Year's resolution, I'll invite them to just chuck that in at some stage. And we can reflect on anything interesting from the previous ones if they want to. But if you have anything you'd like to ask us, please do shout out. We do also love super chats. They help pay for our legal fees and our Botox. So if you want to chuck that in the chat as well, we would massively appreciate you. Alrighty, okay, taking it over to the Discord. So, podcast questions. Andy asked, "What did you get for Christmas?"
Clothes. I did get some Warhammer.
Yeah.
I did get some. I got the Osgiliath Ruins of.
Oh, that was such a cool present
Lord
as well.
of the Rings big box. So there's a lot of terrain to build. So yeah, I'm excited. Well, I'm not excited to build it and paint it. That's going to be miserable. But I'm excited for it to be on the table and look.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't get Warhammer this year. People who know me know I don't lack for Warhammer, and I think it was a good time to be like, let's steady the ship and just focus on some other real life stuff. So I got lots of nice practical things. How about you guys? John, Ben?
I got a new pair of Crocs.
How do
I delete someone?
For God's sake, Ben, what's wrong with you?
I can't look at him.
What colour are they?
They're just plain pink this time.
Okay.
My partner brought them for me. She said my last pair were like a centimetre thick on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, do they just wear away underneath?
Yeah, she was like, you really need a new pair. And I was
them.
like, fine.
That's not unreasonable, is it?
No, I was like, yeah, fair. Yeah, can't argue with that.
And yourself, John?
I got some Shatterpoint models, which now means I'm now going to have to not pretend that I don't own that box set. I have played 3 games of it since, so it's quite good. And I got a Kill Team Warhammer World ticket because I was like, I don't need any more toys, but I could go and play with my toys.
Yeah. Experience
which
gifts,
makes
right?
sense, right?
That's what it's all about. There's a petition gathering steam in the chat to put the Crocs in the Jack Chapman tier. That tier list, that Jack Chapman's just going to be a thing now. It's going to be a thing now. You've really let the cat out of the bag with that one now. Oh my God. It's just too good. I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it. Right, okay, we've got Ultimate Fun. After last year's runaway channel subscription success, how many calls from NordVPN does Chris field every day, and what price is he holding out for? Chris, do you understand that question? Because I don't.
Unfortunately, do not understand that question.
I understand this.
Okay.
We're also going to be sponsored by Raid Shadow Warriors next as well.
So it's like just sort of general sponsorship stuff, is it? Right. Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. We're taking sponsors. Get in touch. That's fine. We're up for that.
We have had a couple of people get in contact.
We have. We're a big deal these days, guys. We have like 7,000 subs. That's huge. Probably, I imagine. In the exponential infinite universe of YouTube, that feels like that's definitely well up there. That is certainly
my mum is proud of us. That's how big we are.
Fantastic. And then Bloodrender Alex Chancellor asks, how exciting is a new meta? And what is each of your unit/detachments that you think has slipped under the radar of sitting well in the meta? Open this up to you guys. Obviously, we're all very excited. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Outriders,
okay. Yep.
Just across the board, it seems that they're appearing in everyone's Space Marine lists finally.
Yep.
And they're out of stock.
Yep.
With the ATV. Who knew? I can never say that.
Ben, what do you reckon? Any meta tips? Anything you've seen out there?
Oh, I mean, I like the Harlequin Street, right?
Yeah.
It's the same boring record at this point.
Ben, for context, runs 3 in some of his lists at the moment. That is just no one asked for that.
No one wanted it.
No. Very, very crazy. I do think Orc Tactical Brigade will be very good. I think that looks very, very good. I think also I suspect probably Tzeentch. I think we all know Slaanesh is good. I think Tzeentch Demons will probably also throw up some bamboozly top finishes because people won't know what it does and they'll
got the dice thing.
They'll trigger the trap card. It's pretty wild. You just have to read it a couple of times and be like, oh, okay, that's very, very loopy. Anything for you, John?
Yeah, because I misread the question the first time. That's why I sound like an idiot. Normal. I was like, what is everyone excited? I was like, no, it's the opposite. So to me, what I think is actually has slipped under the kind of the radar. To me, I think it's normal Terminators.
Oh,
in vanilla Marines because they get +1 to wound. They may have a use finally.
Ooh, interesting.
I might be wrong.
It does feel
Probably.
like there's probably like 8 different builds in Space Marines right now, doesn't it? Like I think it could get really, really silly with the normal
Because
Space
assault
Marines.
cannons, just a lot of shots.
Yeah. And also, and this is a pretty bold call, but I reckon a bunch of tanks and Gilliman might be quite good.
That is class.
I think
Vindicators.
someone might try that.
No.
I think someone will.
What about 3 dreadnoughts as well?
Oh yeah, so,
Ballistas.
ballistas
Ballistae.
perhaps. Yeah, I think that feels like that's a top tip from us guys. If you're not paying attention, try running Ultramarines with a bunch of shooting. I want to shout out Rampart Chat. You've been fun in this chat today. You've been good value. It's been very enjoyable. Finally, Hannibal asks, what army and detachment would the hosts run at Nottingham if they were going? I am going. I am running Biosanctic Brood Surge because...
Is your army, though, Tom? Because they don't always make it there with you.
Oh, I'll try. I'll hopefully remember it, I think. I mean, some of that army is in Ed Watts' car, which is a bad place. Very, very, very bad place for an army to be. I'll tell you that. That is not...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Ed currently has bits of 2 of my armies because he just acquires material with a remarkable ability.
Oh, wow.
His car's fascinating, by the way. There was just a lone Catachan in one of the back seats, just on its own.
I've never known him to play guys.
I don't know where that's come from, Chris. There's no history with Catachans, but he's got one. So there we are. Anyway, hopefully I'll get those back as well.
Now you say that, when he deposited the box of Grey Knights at my house, he didn't want to post it, so he drove like 2 hours in the dead of night many moons ago. Yeah. There was a lone Catachan in the box too.
Oh dear.
So
maybe it's like his calling card.
It's like the Joker. Yeah,
he just leaves a little
Catachan.
Ryan Goodwin says Passenger Princess Catachan. Yeah, damn right. I mean, I'll tell you because I'm not going to go into detail, but that Catachan had not been the Passenger Princess in that car. Anyway, let's leave it. Let's leave it at that. Oh dear. And okay, how about you guys? What would you take to Nottingham?
I take Grey Knights, and I would not take that many Dread Knights.
Okay, good. Useful learning.
Useful learning from Saffron. Don't like lots of Dread Knights. I don't think it digs out armies who play the game well on UKTC on at least 2, probably 4 of the maps. I think it can struggle to dig the enemy out. I think you do need more footstuffs and trading material now. I don't think a good player will, unless they've got just so much stuff that they can't hide. I think I'm on a epic losing streak at the moment on table quarters. I just can't dig people out. So
I'm sure those new UKTC ruins are really helping with that.
Well, that's exactly it, right? So I'll be definitely paying close attention to how people get on with Grey Knights, Wartbane at Nottingham, because I don't think lots of Dread Knights is the way forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, how about you, John?
It would be Librarius Conclave, the Dark Angels twist, because it
sounds
exciting.
Good lad.
Lion's Blade would tempt me, but I think all librarians attached to stuff sounds really fun.
It's just like I was just like, when have they actually been good? Like they'd never get a look in, right? Librarians. I think it's fun to see it out there. I think it's very cool. And how about you, Ben? Is there any detachments you currently like that you might?
I wonder what I might take to Nottingham with me. it would be Reaper's Wager.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
All of my energy and mental thought is in Reaper's Wager.
I was very tempted, but then I did the lame thing and just took the detachment. I took the army I'm better with instead. So I was like, oh well. Sometimes it goes that way, right?
Fair though,
Watch blame you. Last year I went 2-3 because I got cute. I'm not getting cute this time. Let's see how that goes. That's us done, guys. You're all amazing. This has been really fun. Hopefully the structure felt a little bit tighter, and we're here to really chuck out some great content this year. We're going to have a great time with it, and we hope you're all along for the ride. Next week we will be back. We've got the lovely Wings from Goomhammer back again. We're going to talk about the Grotmas meta, such that it is. What are the early trends and signs? He's taking Star Shatter to Nottingham. I wonder what that tells you about what he thinks. We will see you then, and until then, enjoy the rest of the content. Have a great time out there, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.